Hello guys, welcome to the Plant Care Tips channel. My guest today is the fuchsia plant with its magnificent flowers. A hanging basket star, hummingbird magnet, and shade-tolerant bloomer? Yes, please. Fuchsias are loaded with stunning, two-toned flowers and showy foliage. This beauty isn't high maintenance, but you do need to know its growing requirements. Learn how to grow and care for fuchsia plants, and keep those blooms coming. Often featuring bicolor flowers, fuchsias come in various colors, but most often in gorgeous bright reds, pinks, and salmons, with white or purple centers. The flower's outer portion comprises colored sepals, which protect the inner petals and reproductive bits. Fuchsias are a favorite for hummingbirds, who are attracted to the colors and long, bell-shaped flowers that hang and droop beautifully from hanging baskets, containers, and planters. The blossoms are also beloved by other pollinators including bees, butterflies, and moths. Fuchsia plants can be bushy or vining and trailing. Many fuchsias will slow or stop blooming when temperatures rise above 30 degrees Celsius, but some heat-loving varieties are available. Are fuchsias perennials or annuals? While fuchsias are grown as perennial garden shrubs in mild climates worldwide, they are treated as a cool-season plant used as an annual, primarily as potted flowering plants and in hanging baskets in the United States and Canada. That said, fuchsia can survive over winter by storing it in the winter at 40 degrees Fahrenheit. While in storage, water once a month and then in February, cut back to the woody sections to promote new growth in spring. How to grow fuchsia? Although considered fussy plants by some gardeners, you can grow fuchsia in pots, hanging baskets, or even on a trellis, depending on the variety. There are some sun-tolerant fuchsia varieties, but generally whether they're in pots, baskets, or in the ground, they like cool, moist, protected areas with morning sun. Make sure your soil or potting mix is free-draining. Fuchsia doesn't like to be too wet or too dry. Fuchsia is great for shade houses, glass houses, indoors, or on a protected veranda. If your fuchsias are in the house, make sure the room is not too hot, preferably below 24 degrees Celsius, and out of direct sunlight. Growing a hardy fuchsia in your landscape can be very rewarding if you have the right environment. These plants will tolerate full sun in climates with cooler summers and mild winters, but in warmer climates with harsh midday sun, they prefer some shade. Watch out for harsh winters with excessive cold. If you experience a particularly cold winter, add some extra mulch over the roots to help protect them. You can also plant the root mass a few inches deeper than normal. This doesn't guarantee that your plants will survive the winter, but it can help. These plants do not appreciate arid climates. The dry air and soil will cause the plants to quickly shrivel, brown, and die. If you live in a place with dry air and dry soil, you will have better luck growing something that is more suitably adapted to your local conditions. Once your fuchsia is established in a permanent location, it will be a medium maintenance plant. You should prune it yearly to maintain a desirable form and encourage flowering. Caring for fuchsia. Fuchsia plants are relatively easy to grow and care for if you can provide the proper environmental conditions. Light. Fuchsias are considered part shade plants, which is an excellent opportunity for gardeners. However, they do need at least 4 hours of light to bloom, either dappled sunlight all day or direct morning sun. They prefer summer temperatures below 85 degrees Fahrenheit and cool nights. So those in southern locations should place their fuchsias in a spot with afternoon shade or even all-day protection. Fuchsia loves a shady spot in the garden or in a hanging basket or pot. Varieties with large hanging flowers work exceptionally well in hanging baskets, so the flowers are easily seen. Water. The plant requires consistently moist soil and supplemental watering in dry conditions. Fuchsia needs consistently moist soil. Do not allow the soil to dry out, and also don't allow the roots to sit in wet soil conditions. If you don't get much rainfall or are experiencing drought conditions, do some supplemental watering. Soil. Ideal soil for these plants is nutrient-rich, moist, and well-drained, with a pH below 6.0. The soil should be nutrient-rich and well-drained. These plants prefer acidic soil with a pH of less than 6.0. Fertilizer. Fuchsia plants benefit from using balanced flower garden fertilizer during the growing season. In addition to nutrient-rich soil, fuchsia plants will appreciate extra fertilizer to support growth and flowering. Apply a balanced flower garden fertilizer during the growing season. Carefully follow the directions on the package of the product you are using. Pruning. Pruning will help your plants develop an attractive form and promote flowering. Fuchsia blooms on new wood, so if you want to see the most flowers, you'll want to do annual pruning. Using sharp pruners, prune plants in late winter or early spring before they develop fresh spring growth. Propagation and cuttings. Fuchsia is easy to propagate, and stem cuttings are the best way to do that. You can grow these plants from seed, but since many fuchsias are cultivars, the seeds won't grow true to the parent type. Fuchsia seeds are also very finicky and difficult to germinate and grow. The optimal time for taking plant cuttings is in the spring during active growth. You can take cuttings anytime, but you will have the best success in the springtime when your plants are most actively growing. When your plant starts to develop fresh new growth in the spring, take a couple of softwood cuttings. Cut a fresh green leafy branch tip about 4 inches long. Strip off the lower couple of leaves to have about 2 inches of bare stem. Dip this lower bare stem in a rooting hormone, powder or liquid. Place the lower couple of inches into fresh, clean potting soil. Your pot should have a functional drainage hole or holes in the bottom. Water the soil and keep it moist but not soggy. Keep your cutting in a warm and well-lit location. When your cutting starts to develop fresh new leaves at the top, you know it has rooted successfully. Keep the cutting growing in a pot for several more weeks until it has grown some more root mass. Transplant your cutting outside on a cool, overcast day, and continue to keep it moist and protected from direct sunlight. Pests and diseases. Fuchsia is generally a trouble-free plant, but you may occasionally encounter problems with insect pests. The 3 most common pests that feed on this plant are spider mites, aphids, and whiteflies. Spider mites. Spider mites are microscopic mites that congregate in large numbers along plant stems and leaves. You may also see them clinging to fine webbing between the plant leaves. Spider mites feed on plant juices and cause the leaves to curl, turn yellow and brown, and eventually die. Spray them with a jet of water to dislodge them. These are tiny insects that suck plant juices. They will cause plant leaves to curl and yellow. In heavy infestations, leaves will die. Aphids have soft bodies that are typically green, pink, or gray. They mass in large numbers on the undersides of leaves and along plant stems. You will likely see these insects clearly in dense bunches if you have an aphid infestation. Spray aphids with insecticidal soap or spray a jet of water to dislodge them and disturb their feeding. Whiteflies. Whiteflies are tiny white flying insects. They suck plant juices and typically congregate on the undersides of plant leaves. They will cause plant leaves to turn yellow or brown and eventually die. Encourage beneficial insects in your garden by planting plenty of pollinator-friendly plants nearby. Many insect predators will eat whiteflies. Spray heavily infested areas of your plant with insecticidal soap, but be careful not to spray beneficial insects.